everybody, Jason Burmis here. And I want you to imagine a world in which unelected bureaucrats and those that they appoint on behalf of the predator class dictate the truth about health and how humanity should respond. And they give you facts. However, the facts aren't always the facts, and the facts are continually changing. Yet, we are supposed to be invested in those facts of appointees of unelected officials on behalf of billionaires who are trying to consolidate power and create a global government, a new world order, if you will. Well, in reality, you don't have to imagine it all, because that's where we're at, folks. That's where we are at. And before we get into the latest from the WHO and them now having to try to clarify that they're saying that asymptomatic spread is, quote unquote, very rare. And I'm not saying that that's true. In fact, I don't know that there's a lot of truth that's been spit by these people. I'm saying that we have to question everything. So before we get into that and other coronavirus, COVID-19 84 news, I want to remind everybody that I am, in fact, fully demonetized on this platform. There is no way for me to make money on YouTube, very heavily suppressed. If I'm able to get, say, 540 viewers, right? 540 viewers would be about 1%. 1% of my audience live. Doesn't happen. Instead, I get about, I don't know, live now between 100 to 200 on an average 15 to 20 minutes, sometimes 30-minute video. Think about that. We're talking about 1/540th of my audience at times. We're not even there yet, 2 minutes deep into this one. So if you can support me, $5, $10, $15, it means the world to me. Make sure you are thumbing the videos up, sharing them. And remember, on this platform, you can see all my documentary films, especially the ones exposing global governance and the United Nations, especially an invisible empire, but Shade the Motion Picture, also extremely important, okay? So it comes out yesterday that they put out the information that asymptomatic spread of the coronavirus is extremely rare. And I'm going to tell you why I think they said this. Now, number one, that has not been the play. All right, so now either asymptomatic spread is very rare and all the tests have been wrong, or they're selling you more bullshit. And what do I mean by that? Well, number one, the amount of asymptomatic people has probably gone down because the amount of people has gone down because the weather has changed. And this virus, again, the Oxford scientists say is going away, right? And we'll get into, the possibility of it coming from a lab and how the degradation in the real world, if there wasn't some kind of actual vehicle, like a bio vehicle, like say a tick with Lyme disease, and we'll get there too. That it would degrade quickly. And it has, right? So then why are they saying this now? Because we know that prison populations, when they tested them, again, either all the tests were corrupt, which may be, right? Who knows? Or, because prison populations, the vast majority were asymptomatic. Homeless populations, the vast majority of them were asymptomatic. So how else was it getting spread? From sick people? No. No. They're saying this now because of these global protests. And they're still trying to sell you on the idea, right? The idea that it's okay to be out there protesting with Black Lives Matter, but it's not okay to be protesting if, I don't know, you're against the lockdown or anything else for that matter. But people are seeing through that facade. And actually, North Carolina Speedway had 2,000 spectators saying that it was a protest. Brilliant. Okay? So that's not getting a lot of attention. It should, because it shows the absurdity of this and how people should just be reopening, right? So basically, they're trying to make this play that, oh, well, asymptomatic spread's not there, so it's okay to get out there and protest and now be arm to arm, and the 6-foot thing is arbitrary and the mask thing is arbitrary, but we're not going to say that yet. And we told you there was no human-to-human spread all the way in January. Look, one of the few things that I've seen Trump do that was positive in the past few weeks was get us out of the World Health Organization. And yet, they're the ones the tech companies are still promoting. They're the ones the media are still promoting. They're the ones that Governor Cuomo, every time I watch one of his press conferences during the day, is going to. And he just straight up tells the facts aren't the facts. Facts, you want facts? I got no facts for you. The facts will change. And if you're an unelected, representative of the World Health Organization, the facts can just change magically. These are the systems of control they want you under. And if you want to look at what some of the numbers they're now claiming are, there was one little section here that I thought was interesting. We don't actually have that answer yet. This is Dr. Maria Van Kerkhove, okay? She's the head of the WHO's Emerging Diseases and Zoonosis Unit, okay? There are some estimates that suggest that anywhere between 6% of the population and 41% of the population may be infected, but have not had symptoms within the point estimate of around 16%. I mean, again, those numbers are so wacky to me because you don't even know how effective the tests were, right? And when you look at this thing and the amount of asymptomatic people that you claim to have tested and tested positive, then you get down to this very, very low death rate of, much like the flu, 0.1%, but just, again, in certain areas where it breaks out, 3, 4, 5 times as contagious. So this idea now that asymptomatic people never spread this, I think is absolutely ludicrous. So I want to talk about some censorship because when we talk about labs and this virus, there was a story yesterday about a Norway scientist that supposedly made this claim. It was on Forbes. I don't know the validity of the article because I haven't been able to read it because they took it down. Now, did they take it down because it was fake? Or did they take it down because there was pressure, right? There's pressure because, and now there are parts being retracted in that original Lancet study. Feels like the cover-up crew is in full effect to say that no way this came out of a lab. Well, I want to remind people that just last summer, we had a congressman showing evidence that Lyme disease was a U.S. military bioweapons research program. And what is the vehicle for Lyme disease? Well, it is a biological organism, okay? And that biological organism happens to be a tick. And listen, Lyme disease is the real deal. And that cover-up's been going on for decade after decade after decade after decade. And it affects people differently. But at the end of the day, if you get it, it is one of those degenerative diseases that can take hold, ruin your life, and take your life. Well, guess what they're trying to say in my area now, which is heavy with ticks. Tick-borne illness similar to COVID makes resurgence. That's just this week. Now, I don't know what to believe. I know what they're trying to sell you. But can one imagine if another bioweapon was released on the public other than in the manner this one was? And I know, you're saying this was a bioweapon, Jason? I'm saying that you're allowed to say, if you're on Fox News or one of these mainstream platforms, that it may have leaked from a lab in Wuhan, but you're not allowed to say. And by the way, if it did leak out of there, it was probably part of a vaccine program that was good, like a HIV vaccine. Meanwhile, I've got to see multiple commercials every time I watch the History Channel or Comedy Central for Truvada, or there's this new one for PrEP, not even for people with HIV. Like, what bizarro world am I in? How much of the U.S. population is affected by HIV? Not many. But they want you to prep for it. This is the designer drug that's being sold to me on television. So again, you're allowed to say if it was for that ever, elusive vaccine for HIV and it leaked out. You can say that, but you can't say that it's a biologically engineered virus that was released on purpose in different areas of the world at varying degrees, and it didn't necessarily come out of Wuhan. You can't say that. Then you're harmful content. But I think that's where you're at. So, folks, thumbs this video up, subscribe, and share. Again, I want to remind you, join the Burmese Brigade. $5, $10, $15 means the world to me. All of my documentary films, they're in the playlist section right here at the bottom, guys. Right here at the biggity bottom. You can watch Shade and all those other ones. We got a bunch of other playlists for you. Again, Shade the Motion Picture. You want to see somebody that was exposing Bill Gates 7 years ago, not just about his business and vaccines. Because think about it. This guy is in everything. In everything. In this one, we show you that what? He wants to control the weather. Oh, yeah. He wants to be a part of what? GMO food production. Yes, he wants to be involved in medicine. And now, with COVID-1984 running wild, he wants to reimagine education in New York, and that's why I got to get out of here. Just prior to this, guys, over on Rockfin for free, let's refresh. I live streamed as I do noon on Tuesday, so you can just sign up to Rockfin, follow me, and you can find out that JFK Jr. Didn't post anything on Twitter today. Yet he trended. The return of JFK Jr. trended on Twitter today. So if you want to see that video, just go sign up over there at a free account. If you want the premium account, you'll also get things like this. We post about 5 times a week over on Rockfin, which is a Netflix for creators. So if you do endorse me for $9.99, you get everybody else's content. But that video is the first hour, and we're going to post the second hour as well, either today or tomorrow, as for premium members, of myself, Josh Sigurdson, Luke Radowski, Jamie Deluxe, James Corbett, Jay Dyer, KG was there, Sam Tripoli. I know I'm going to miss a ton of people, but over 24 people talking about what we should be doing to try to reach more of an audience and how do we break out of the control of big tech and the platforms that are available. So, guys, I love you. It's not about left or right, Democrat, Republican. This is a real deal issue. It is about right and wrong and stopping that predator class from achieving their goals. Guys, I love you, and I'll see you on the flip side.